All right. What I did was I cleaned up my picture and I worked on this for maybe 20 minutes or so, half hour. You can see a lot of those things that were flat, I changed. And again, when you do that, you just need to click on a dot, right click. It's mostly making the curved polylines, but sometimes you want to delete them too. So this is all fixed. I'm pretty happy with it. If you zoom in and you see really bad areas, fix them. This is ready to print now. I need to do some wording. This is going to be my logo, but I wanted to put lettering above and below this one. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to scroll up to the top. I'm just going to show you some things you can do. Lettering's easy to start with. You just click the text box over here and you start typing. Now, if you want to change something on your lettering, you have to do it over in this box right here. And it's generally under format. If I want to make it bigger, you can just click on this arrow here and you can actually just make it as big as you want. As you change that, you can see your text height changes over here. So the numbers are changing as you're moving that. So you don't actually need to type in anything. If you wanted it to be an exact size, of course, you could type in 3, an exact size. If you do this, it's going to distort. But if you hold shift and you drag, it doesn't distort. Just something to know, especially on logos. If you don't want it to distort, hold the shift key when you do that, and it's equal on the height and the width. Boldness on your letters doesn't seem to matter a whole lot for me. You can make them more bold if you want to, less bold if you want. You can see it changes the size, makes them fatter. It kind of blends it together on certain things. The font, you definitely want to find a font that works. What I like to do is just click on one and then keep scrolling down, and it changes. You can see you have previews as you go. And let's say you find one you like, well, you leave it there. But if I'm just clicking the down arrow on my computer screen, so you find one you like, you go with it. If you want to curve it, like I'm going to curve mine around this logo, what you do is you click this button right here. It'll say align with curve, and you could move that. You can still change the size and things like that. You can rotate it. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with lettering. You can still make the curve bigger or smaller. Sometimes it'll mess with the lettering when you do that. Same thing if you make it more wide, it might screw up the lettering a little bit. You can see the lettering is tending to lean left over here. You want to align that to the center usually, but you know, it's sort of up to you. It's your project. So if I wanted the lettering to be like that, I would leave it like that. If I want to change it, I double click back on here and you can still go back and you can still pick a different font and change it as you go. Some of these letters you can't even read. Some of them are too big, but you know, do what you got to do. Other things that are kind of cool with the lettering, you can draw a line right here and then it will follow that line. You can also do it on a circle. I think you can do it on a square or any shape really, but let's pick a line here. Let's say I wanted my lettering to be sort of curvy. I'm just clicking. This one's going to be a really funky one, but I'm just clicking as I go, and then you push escape when you're done. If you go to your lettering, you can actually click right on the curve, and it'll follow that curve. Whatever you draw, it'll follow. It's really neat actually when you're doing your own designs. So it'll follow any curve, and again, you can mess with the controls the same way. It will also, see if I can do that. Control Z is undo. You can also go edit undo. Circle is the same way. If you draw a circle or an oval, if you're making like a circular logo, this is a really cool tool to use. Your lettering will follow a circle. You go to letters and right around in a circle. So if I was going to do like a Glacier Creek logo on the inside, goes right around, and you can space it out however you want. Change your font. Oops, I got off there. Change your font, make it bigger or smaller. The circular one especially is used in a lot of different logos because a lot of times people will do a circle right around their logo. So it'll make the words right around a logo for you. You just have to figure out the spacing and the height for that. Make sure the letters aren't too cramped. With this logo, I was going to do the circle around it, so I'm just going to get rid of some of this stuff. Get rid of this one, delete. Get rid of this one, delete. And remember, I'm going to resize my logo. Oh, I got to show you something else too when I get the letters on. Remember when you resize the logo, if you don't want it to warp or get too skinny or too fat, hold the shift. So I'm going to edit, undo that one, hold the shift, and then it'll resize it exactly. So I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller. Keep in mind that each one of these blocks is an inch, so I can actually measure out how big this is going to be. I'm going to draw a circle around this one. Sort of like that, and I'm going to move, edit, undo. Got to click on the arrow to move things. Move my logo sort of centered on the circle. This isn't one I'm actually going to print, but I'm going to start my lettering here, and there it goes. Glacier Creek, Middle School, Hunting and Fishing, can't spell, Fishing Club. So I got to space this out a little bit, and it's difficult to get right on those letters. Glacier Creek, Middle School, Hunting and Fishing Club. I like how that looks. I'm going to highlight this. It's sort of difficult to highlight the whole thing sometimes. It's really not letting me do that right now. Highlight it all the way around. There we go. And find a font that I like. I kind of like that one actually. I spaced it out pretty evenly. I like that one a little better. So I'll use this, and there's my logo in the middle. Like I said, this isn't one I'm really going to make. I'm just doing it for an example. Now, you're going to have to move this down to the corner of your page when you print whatever logo you have. And if you try to move this separately, now you have two different things that are going to move and they're not connected. So if you try to move your logo and your letters, it's not connected. There's my logo and then there's my letters. So there's a way to connect them that's really makes it easy for you. Get it how you want it, highlight the whole thing, and then go to Object, Group, and then group it together. Now when you move it, it's one object. And we're going to print this on a decal. I have the move set up right now, so it moves it to the bottom corner, which is kind of nice. And I always leave about a 1/4 inch of space between there. You're supposed to be able to move it to the corner and print it right there, but I'm going to move it a little bit. And I don't really trust that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to print it. So I'm going to save this first, save as, and I have all these rolling things in here. I'm going to save it as GCMS Hunting Club. I'd set up a folder beforehand on your desktop to save things in and save it. Printing it is super easy. I'm going to take the Roland 24-inch cutter and plug it in. I'll show you how to set up the cutter in a separate video. But once it's plugged in and set up, all you have to do is you go File, Cutting, and you have a preview of what it's going to look like. You click OK. Unable to connect to the machine because my machine's not on. So I'm going to hook my machine up, and I'll do a video on that, and then we'll fire one out.